Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here on Friday, and this is Woodland Wonderland Friday for quite a few more weeks. The book is done in 7 chapters. Yes, 7 chapters. And we are going to take more than that to do it because some of the chapters, there's quite a few blocks in a chapter, and I don't want to be going crazy. It's a little much on some of them. So this is the first week where we're going to split it, and we are on chapter 3. And so for chapter 3, we have the super cute owl. Isn't he darling? Look at him. I don't have the eyes stitched yet. I'm going to talk about blanket stitching today. I'll do a little sample. So cute, so cute. And then there's also the snow-capped trees, and you have a bunch of these. And then in this chapter is also the holly. So you have a bunch of those. What I recommend, or what I'm going to do, how I'm going to handle it, there we go, is show you the owl that I'm going to make up in red fabric. And then I would suggest that you do some of your holly this week if you feel like it, if you feel like it. And then next week I will show you, I will make a tree, show you the parts and sew the tree. So I'm not dealing with those this week. These are super simple. There's sew and flip, but once again, there's not a whole lot of, it's just easy sew and flip. So you might want to move along like that. But the big deal is the owl. I think she has a name for him, Ollivander. I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing that right. Ollivander the owl. So I have red fabric picked. So let's take a look at that. And I have one of the little design boards, so I have it all laid out how I want to work on him so that when I go to the sewing machine, I don't get turned around and discombobulated and do things in the wrong order. So what I've got is, here's the eyes, and these are the sew and flips for the eyes to make it look sort of rounded. These parts here are the surround for the eye. So I've got those strips. Then there's a bunch of little pieces for sew and flip. These are the ears up here. Then there's the corners. This is the wings. This is the center part. And then I've got sew and flip stuff. So there you go. Everything but the eyes. I'm going to do the eyes in this gray, and I will demo cutting these out and fusing them and stitching them. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and sew up the owl so I have it to stitch. Now, I did not starch the red one. The gray one was starched. So he's pretty firm and makes it very easy for the sew and flips. So you'll be able to see the difference between the two of them when I show you. So my red one without the eyeballs, and here's the gray one with eyeballs. Now, that means you have to applique the eyeballs. If you don't want to applique them, maybe you can find a big dot of, a fabric with a great big dot that you could center in there. I'd love to see that if you do, but I am going to applique because I love applique and I know how to do it. Now, I will do Fusible applique by machine. I like to use the Heat and Bond Light, which is this sort of medium purple. There's red, which is ultra. You don't want to use that because it's a no-sew. And then there's Featherlight, which is a lighter base. It's usually done with full fusible. You have to be just a little bit more delicate with heating it. But the Heat and Bond Light is perfect. Everybody can use it. I traced the eyeballs, traced them on the paper side. Now let me show you. When I cut them out, I like to use a little bit bigger scissor. It seems like counterintuitive, like people would be like, oh, let's use a small scissor because they're not very big shapes. But I find that with a small scissor, I don't have as much blade surface to sort of wind around the shape, and it just is more jaggy than if I use the longer scissors. So these are ones that are ergonomic, so they've got a tilt, they're called a shear. So I don't really need all of this around here. I just cut some of that away, and I'm going to cut out the middle so that they're soft, and there'll just be a tiny little rim of Fusible inside that line, which will be what adheres it to the fabric. And then I'll stitch over it, which is what keeps the shape onto the fabric. So I will cut through the line like this. Some of you gasp. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this now. It can't be new. So go through and just pull out the middle like this. So I've got that circle. And then over here, do the same thing. And then now I will fuse it to the gray. I'm going to do light gray on my red with this dot here. And you're putting this on the back. And then afterwards, we will cut on the line. Now mine's a little bit big. You can see it like hanging over. So I will just trim off some more there. That should fit on this strip nicely now. Yes. So we're going to go to the iron. I will press this, but not for very long. It can have steam, there you can hear it. It can have steam, but it doesn't need to. And the steam's not gonna hurt it. And I press like 1, 2, 3, and that's about it. You're not cooking a roast. You don't wanna hold it on there forever, because then you will actually dry out the Fusible, and then it will not adhere to your background shape. So now I can cut the circles out. So you're cutting on the line. This is raw edge Fusible applique. So you're just cutting right on the line, and then these guys will be fused down and be the eyeballs for my little red owl. And I will use a blanket stitch, but you could also just straight stitch. If you don't want to use a blanket stitch, you could just do a straight stitch, but you need to somehow adhere this shape down, otherwise it'll fall off. So if your shape is like not perfect, you can come along like this and just trim it up a little bit. Like if you got a little bobble like that, just come and trim it up. Now we're going to put it onto the owl. You have to take the paper off, so you pretty much just peel it off. If the paper is coming off with the Fusible still on it, then your iron was not hot enough. So that would be an indicator of that. Otherwise, it should come off totally fine. Put them in there. Oh, they look cute. Yes, they do. And then once again, you're just heating it for a couple seconds, and that's it. And there we go. Whoop. So for the applique, I'm going to use my open toe foot on my baby lock. This is my Solaris. I'm going to do right on the edge, and then I'm going to have to turn quite a bit on the circles. Like every maybe 2 stitches, you're going to have to rotate so that you can evenly and smoothly go around. Here is a close-up of the one I already did. So I am going to start with a locking stitch, or you can also just start with a long tail and then take it to the back and tie it, but I prefer just do a locking stitch. And then now I will do a couple stitches. This is just super slow to show you. There's one, and I do another one, and I'm going to turn, but I'm always going to be sure I'm on the background when I turn. I'm rotating, just rotating a little bit so that the stitches, so I'm going straight because I don't want to have anything curving. And depending on where you are on this circle, you could do maybe 2 stitches, and then you need to rotate, like 1. There, I'm going to rotate now. It's like you get a feel for it after a while, but this keeps it nice and smooth. So I will stitch all the way around and then do the locking stitch again to finish it. And the eyeballs are all stitched. They're all ready to go. Very, very cute, very done. How about all the red ones that I've done so far? Let's take a look. Because they're so cute too. Look at this. I've got these ones I've done with red. Here we go. Get them over here. Okay. Red, red, everything red. So aren't they cute? I definitely need to do a few more mushrooms at some point. I think they're going to look really great together. Do some sort of small wall hanging or table runner with a few of the, items, one, random from the project. Woodland Wonderland. And also you'll see, just while I'm down here, eventually the owl will sit on a stick. So if you feel like you want to put the stick on now, you can go forward, into the pattern and find that and put the stick on now. I'm leaving that to when I come to it. So those are the red ones. And I do want to show you some things about the Make a Wreath. We're making a wreath this week. And I have my two hanging over here and started working on them. Here's a clip on getting them organized. In order to get these correct, I'm using a design board here, and I'm laying out top, bottom for the wreaths, for the small ones, because these can get a little tricky if you're not paying total attention to the direction of how these red slanted ones will go, because they make up the edges. And so this is how I did it to get it right. So once you get them laid out, then you can easily go down and sew them the way they're supposed to be without messing up. These are for the sides. So these are the top and bottoms for both wreath, and I have them, you know, the directional prints the way I want them. I didn't mess up. Yay, didn't have to have a date with Jack. No seam ripping had to happen. So the next thing I have to do is the sides for both of them. And then I just put them on to the center, and I might go ahead and put another little outer border on both of them. So I'm thinking on that. I probably will make maybe like another 2-inch border around them. Green definitely for mine, and probably red for my dad's wife, because that will be good. My door is red, so I don't want red because it'll get lost. So I want the green on mine. And the other thing is, when I was showing you the postage stamp blocks yesterday and the yellow fabric, I went and ordered another yard of yellow fabric. I need 2 yards for the 9 blocks. So I went and ordered another yard because this is only 1 yard. Yes. So that'll be coming. And I did pull this pink because I thought you might like to see what that looks like on the pink. Just because we can. And here would be blocks on the pink. So you can see that the pink, it's cool, it's interesting, but it's also absorbs. It's just overpowering. Yeah, it's a lot of pink. It's a lot of pink, and you just lose, for me, I lose the patchwork a bit in this. But it is kind of neat, and the original has white here, and these are white, so that's the way it's done. Okay, you are going to make owls and possibly owls and wreaths and owls, and maybe you'll start your holly. Yeah. Okay, I love you. Mwah. See you online.